Hello everyone, I am Secret Lair and today we will be talking about guild boss battles. Some items to go over first. One, you need to be in a guild to do these battles. And two, to access the guild boss fight, you go to the guild event icon in the bottom left of the screen. Here you're going to see guild raids and guild bosses. And then, just so you know, the main objective of the guild boss fight is to deal as much damage in a given time. So here we see the guild boss screen. We can see the performance of our guild members here. You can see that Death Even has beaten me out on number of kills. This is how many times you've dropped his HP to 0. And you can see the performance of all guilds by hitting this tab. We're in rank 16 right now. You can see the performance of all players. So you can look at the top player and they've got 515 kills. That's ridiculous. And then you can look at the rewards that you can get from this boss fight. This is the first boss of the week, so he is pretty easy and gives you just a little bit of rewards. So we then hit this battle button because you're going to battle. Now don't worry, when you hit the battle button, you're not going to fight right away. It's going to bring you to this screen. You can see on the right side there are some preset teams. We're going to be editing one of these teams. I have more teams than I actually use. The first team is always your current arena team. You're probably never going to use this for an actual boss fight unless you're a new player and you don't have much choice. So you can create or delete teams here. You can edit teams by choosing the selected team and hitting edit. We'll be doing that today. And you can update levels. However, there is a problem with updating levels. It might still be there, it might not be, but originally if you hit the update levels button after your boss fight, all your equipment would be reset. I'm not sure if it's still like that or not. And then, so let's get to making a team now that I've shown you everything. So we're going to avoid hitting the start button because I only have one more try. So we're going to edit this team, my day one boss team, because it is outdated at this point. So I'm going to hit the edit button. So for the day one boss, pretty much there's going to be certain characters we want, certain characters we don't want. So I'm going to go over what you want. Mainly, usually for boss fights, you want a tank, you want damage dealers, and damage boosters. So good tanks can be Grey Worm is okay. Other ones, Hercules, Nutcracker. You also have Guan Yu, who does really good damage. He's a DPS tank. And you have one of my favorites, Leonidas. So the ones I've seen used the most, on day one I see Guan Yu used a lot. So we're going to use him today for my tank. Leonidas for the late game stages is very important for doing really well. And then if I wasn't to use Guan Yu, possibly Nutcracker. I've seen people use Nutcracker and Hercules before, and I've seen people use Guan Yu effectively. Next, we're going to talk about damage boosters. So damage boosters are people who damage and boost your team's damage. So these include Kronos. He is probably a very key person to always include in guild bosses once you get him. If you don't have him, it's okay, there's other damage boosters. He also does good DPS too, so he is both damage and damage boosting. There's Riddle, who's a damage booster, who we will use today, I think, yeah. There's also Uncle Sam that can be a damage booster. We may or may not use him. Alpha is a good damage booster and damage dealer. I think we may use her. Yeah, we may use her today. And then we have damage booster wise. There's also. I feel like there's Edward right here. So Edward also boosts damage. So any of these guys are good, but your core is really going to be these three in damage boosting. They're pretty important for damage boosting. And damage dealing at the same time when it comes to these two. So next we're going to talk about damage dealers. As I mentioned, Leonidas and Guan Yu are damage dealers. They're really good at doing their job. Helsing is also another good choice for damage dealing. Robin Hood is down here. He's good. You have Greenleaf that's on par with Helsing. Greenleaf right here. And then, as I said, Guan Yu. For us, damage dealing wise, I think we're going to try out Robin Hood. But since Guan Yu's a damage dealer and Kronos and Alpha are all damage dealers, I'm actually going to switch to another damage boosting unit. I have two mages and I have a lot of warrior gear, so I think I'm going to take out Robin Hood and I'm going to put in Uncle Sam. So I'm going to try this. It might be better, it might not be better than what I already have. But Uncle Sam boosts damage, all guys boost damage, and then he's a damage dealer, damage dealer, damage dealer. And then last, sometimes you need a survivability unit. Survivability units are good for the later stages, or if you're a new player. So if you're a really new player, this team might not be a great choice for you. So you might want a survivability character that will keep your team alive long enough to deal more damage. And some of the best ones for that are Bloody Mary. She has an AoE heal and regenerates your shields. She is a stable for late game boss fights. And then also there is Remus, who does a single target shield regeneration. So he could be very useful if you don't have Bloody Mary. So we're going to, since this is day one and I'm a late game player, we're going to go with this team and try this team out. I have no clue if it'll do good. But you'll notice one thing, that we have level 1 characters here. So we've got to back out and correct this to make sure they're all maxed out in the levels as much as I can possibly make them. So we're going to back out. We're going to try to remember everyone that's on the team. We're going to go over here. And we're going to quickly adjust their levels. So we're not using her, refund, yes. We're not using Nutcracker, refund, yes. We're using, gotta look for them. So Guan Yu I know is on this page, so we're using Guan Yu. Since he's a damage dealer, we want to max out his damage. So we want him as high as possible. Now we just hit reset, so that means that I believe I can go up to 540 now. I'm using Riddle. Now I don't have to have Riddle max because he doesn't do much damage anyways. So I'm gonna put him to 450 for now, since I don't need to max him anyways. And I find 450 to be acceptable. I'm gonna put Uncle Sam in. I also want him at 450, but I really want these two at 541, as max as possible. So since I have a little room to go, let me see how much I can push these two guys. There we go. All right, so that's pretty good. So now we go back. And we prepare for our last attempt. We're editing my day 1 team. We're keeping Riddle, we're taking out Leonidas. So Helsing, Leonidas, we're taking out Guan Yu. And we're putting in these three. Alright, so now we hit the next button. So we're at the next screen. Now, we see our weapons here, and there's an enchant button over here. So we got to enchant all of our weapons. The nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about how many stones you have. Well, you need to make sure you can enchant everything, obviously. But you don't have to worry about like this affecting your normal build stuff. You get to re-enchant stuff from the get-go. So I'm enchanting items, and I've got a ranger, so I need to enchant my bow. And the best thing to enchant all of your weapons with in this fight is enchanting it with smite. This is a long fight, and Smite is going to proc a lot of times, so it's a really good enchant to have. So I'm just putting it on all the weapons I'm going to use in this fight. Trying to do it as quickly as possible. Next up is the armor. So for the armor, again, we just want to max out damage, so power 3. Put power 3 on that, right? Yep. 3. And then we have 2 melee units, so power 3. All the mages, I need to really merge one of these mage stuff. Power 3. Power 3. I only need 2 mage gear, 2 melee, and range. Yeah, okay. Now the helmet. Helmet depends. So for later stage bosses, Swordbreaker might be better. For early stages, I would say Giant Slayer. There's a possibility Armor Piercer might be better, but we're going to stick with Giant Slayer. So we got 2 melees, 1 ranger. So you notice I haven't combined these, and that's because I have a build that needs 2 rangers, so I don't want to combine them. Boom, so I just need 1 more helmet. There we go, and I think we're ready to equip everything. So, this is my first guy. I'm going to equip this. I'm going to equip this. I'm going to equip this. Then I go to my next guy. Guan Yu. Guan Yu's my main damage dealer, so I'm going to put the best weapon I can on him. Then I'm going to put this armor on him and this helmet. Sam is my secondary melee unit, so put the next best gear on. I got my mage. You can see I get better ranger gear than mage gear often enough. And then ranger. And there we go. So I got everything set. I hit the next button. All gear looks good. Uncle Sam, day 1 boss team. I'm gonna hit next. And so the last thing I need to do is work on my formation. So for this formation, it's looking pretty good, but I want to really push how forward I can make these guys. So that will do, and we're going to try this out. So you see Grog here, he's nice and green as usual. Now, mage pathing is a little funky, so sometimes you'll see your mages walk forward more than they should. So right now, Riddle isn't getting damaged, but Kronos is. Early bosses, this might not be a problem, but for early players and for later bosses, this does become an issue. They were supposed to fix it, they haven't fit yet. Who knows when they'll actually fix it. So 30 seconds is the point where mini bosses, you know how well you're doing by how much damage you've done. This is actually really good. I think I might actually pass my score up. But yeah, you'll see at 30 seconds he starts jumping around. So your damage drastically decreases. But I'm doing really good right now, and I think this team composition improved my score by quite a bit. We'll see if I pass my other guildmates or not. Let's see, I got to 370. Let's see, 372. And boom, look at that. Updating my day 1 got me 104 million, up from 80 something. Last little bit of advice, if you're not doing great and you want to check out what your other allied guild members are doing, you can see their team comps. You can see that they have these guys. You can kind of see what they're doing. So I can see, oh, what's this person doing? How am I going to change it? I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below. I'll gladly answer them. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.